Okay, hello everyone. Thanks for joining this nice presentation. Here is the QR code for all the questions that you might have during the presentation, so feel free to scan it if you have any question afterwards. I'm Sasha, and this is Guillaume, our Odoo partner. Guillaume, I will let you introduce yourself.
So yes, I'm the owner and founder of Sigma Agency, the partner that have accompanied Sasha and Winamp through the success story that we will show today.
Thank you, and I am the head of product of the Winamp Group, and I will explain you how we implemented Odoo inside our group. But first, some history. Who knows Winamp as a player from the past? Okay, that's nice, that's nice. Winamp was a big player in the year 2000, and the group was founded in those years. We have a vision to empower creators, but also to create the best music experience. Winamp was bought by a Belgian company in the year 2012, and now is part of a big group with 5 companies that I will explain just a little bit better after. Now the company is publicly traded on Paris, and we are growing year by year. The Winamp Group is quite iconic by its name, but also with these 5 companies. We have here Winamp as a player. We are rebranding Winamp, but also creating a mobile app. You can find it now on the Android and iOS store, but also creating new platforms like Winamp for Creators, which are for creators and artists. And it's kind of like of Odoo. It's an ERP for music artists, where you can find all the music services, but also all the digital marketing tools that you might need. We also have in the group Hotmix, which is a SaaS with 70 radios that you can stream online and also on the mobile app. And the 2 others, we have Jamendo Licensing. We have more than 236,000 tracks that are given by artists for us to sell for them. Because as you may know, if you are doing a video on YouTube and you are putting some audio on it, you need to have the rights. And we are giving those certificates to the creators of video, and we are getting back the money for the music artist. And lastly, we have Bridger, which is a copyright for music, and it's for author and composer. Every time that a track is played on Spotify, the author and composer get some money, and we collect that for them. Oops, sorry for that. But what is our vision and mission? We really want to empower every artist and fans through a unique music experience. We believe now that since Spotify, we have lost that connection between a music artist and the fans, and we want the music artist to reach the new audiences, but also connect in a more direct-to-fan relation. Our mission is the next few years to build the next generation of music player, but also for the music artist. And with Winamp, we are really a center to give creators all the tools to grow, but also for the fans to have all the tools to listen to music or new content. With that said, 5 companies can be a lot of challenge, but we tried to, I will say, get better every year and year. With that group, we have a lot of tools and a lot of back offices, which are really a pain point for the company. Also, since it's the year 2000, we have some old tech and old e-commerce. We have 5 companies. One is in Belgium, the other one is in Luxembourg, and the other one is in France. And the 2 rest are everywhere in the world. So we do have a lot of accounting to do, which is quite difficult, and we want to grow in the next few years. So we need to centralize, to have a modern solution. We implemented Odoo accounting as a first because it was easy with the multi-company structure, and we need to handle a lot of users. So when we decided to change a bit how the group works, we saw first the opportunity to go with Jamendo Licensing, which was quite simple because it's an e-commerce website with a lot of tracks that you can listen, yes, but it was our first project with Odoo. We went to some partners, which are Spotify, Shopify, and WooCommerce, and we saw that it was, yes, possible, but it was really complicated, a lot of customization that we had to do. Also, we had to connect everything through Odoo to our DB, and maybe some miscalculation between the accounting was possible, so we didn't want that. And also it was really costly, so we wanted to reduce the cost. So we decided to see whether in Odoo it was possible. Our requirements were quite simple: to keep a good SEO, to have some Odoo migration to optimize the accounting, and to be able to scale for more user or more artists, and also have a player everywhere on the web. So we went to Sigma, and I will let Guillaume explain a bit more our pack.
Thank you, Sasha, for the introduction and the detailed explanation of the company. So maybe a few words about myself and the company Sigma Agency. So we are what I like to call a full stack Odoo partner. It means that we are very good in the backend processes of Odoo, but also in the front end. So web solutions such as websites, e-commerce, and also mobile and web application that we connect into Odoo. So that's why I say is the whole stack. So now let's go back to the main subject. Sasha asked us for a proof of concept with some requirements that you see here, and we had two approaches. The first one was to build a Odoo website, so with the Odoo website application and the e-commerce, but we saw quite quickly that to be able to have a continuous player, so a continuous player means that you need to listen to music while changing page without the player breaking. And with the framework of, with the front-end framework of Odoo, it would have required lots of customization, meaning also that we would have almost break everything to be able to build in this framework, and it would have been costly for migration. So the first option was actually not a good option, even though we had the e-commerce requirements. So you can buy licenses, you can buy subscription. So we had the idea to construct with a bit of both. And that's why the second approach is called the headless e-commerce approach. And we decided to decentralize the front end in a standalone web application where it is connected directly to Odoo as a database. So the e-commerce in itself has no database. The database is Odoo. And thanks to that, we are able to be good for SEO because we also use a framework called Next.js, and we have very fast loading time and scalability. But actually, what is a headless architecture? So headless means the separation of the e-commerce application, so the front end, with the backend. The backend here is Odoo, and the front end in most websites is the storefront and the user experience. It's used in most big e-commerce firms around the world. For instance, Nike and Adidas use it. And now, is it possible in Odoo? Well, of course. In Odoo, what's great about Odoo is you have a lot of applications that are native. So you have users management, you have sale orders, invoicing, you have also the checkout and the payment flows within the e-commerce. So would it be possible to do a bit of both? Well, yes, this is what we decided to do. So build a standalone web application connected to the backend of Odoo. And thanks to that, we can delocalize the user experience, so the storefront with the shop page, the account page, the subscription pages, and dynamically generate all the content from the backend. And so it's called a headless architecture, and that's why we showed to Sasha, and thanks to that, the proof of concept was validated, and we had the project. And so all the logic on the backend of Odoo is isolated in a custom module, and it's also the database. With API first approach, we can build connect the front end to the backend. And also, since we are in a multi-company environment, we would be able to scale the solution to increase the number of websites since we have 5 companies in the Odoo and the accounting. And also, all of that was built in an AWS infrastructure, which validated the proof of concept for scalability and maintainability. So the first project that we did was Jamendo indeed, and I will maybe now let Sasha show you exactly what we have been talking about.
Yes, thanks, Guillaume. So to start it, we decided to go with this solution. Here, everything is in headless. I will show you quickly the home page. I also do a buying flow so that you understand. Here we have different type of licenses depending on what you are using the license for. We can go directly into the checkout, and here I think you will recognize that it is Odoo, and we are using the standard of Odoo. I can continue my purchase, have my payment methods. I will use the e-wallet because I don't want to spend money now.
So what's great with that, we don't have to change anything on the back end of Odoo. Well, it's still the front end, but it's the checkout flow of Odoo. It's completely standard, and we just get redirected to the front end, and you have paid your products.
Exactly. And so here I will see that I have a new track that I can allocate to a specific project, and I can then download it and also download a CSV. But in the backend of Odoo, if I go into my sales, I will find here everything inside of the sales, and I don't have to do anything.
And also with that, do you know in Odoo when a sale is confirmed, the invoice is automatically generated, it's sent to the client. So we keep the standard flow of Odoo for all the user management and the flow of the validation of the e-commerce.
And with all that said, I think I have to show you a bit of the search, because here we do have a huge catalog with 236,000 tracks, but we can search with a natural search. So it's using a bit of AI. It will recognize the text, but I can also prompt an AI to find the best music for a video of Odoo. He will ask me questions if he doesn't know the moods and the theme.
And so everything you see here is in the backend of Odoo, so it's dynamically generated. So it's very powerful.
And here I can have the same flow to buy also all the tracks that I need. Also, we have developed a subscription for those clients, so it's also using the module of subscription of Odoo. And if I go back to the back office of Odoo, we have created here a little module where we can see all the tracks. We can also change every aspect of the track if I need to add any instruments. Here I have all the radios, all the playlists that you have created, all the project, all the artists, and everything is like a CMS, so we can decide to change a theme, a mood, or anything, or maybe a banner to do some marketing, and we don't have to develop anything else.
Yeah, it's completely instant since it's connected with the APIs, and any change in the backend will directly be a change in the front end. And so, as you can see here, the custom module is with all the logic and the data, so it's inside Odoo. We also build some nice other features, such as a Dropbox module, a custom page builder for the front-end side inside Odoo. And then we use the checkout and the Odoo e-commerce application for the payment flows. And also the other modules, so as Sasha showed, the sales, the subscription, and the accounting, of course, the CRM and help desk. And so what was very important for this solution was also to be able to migrate. And we will show later on that is this solution migrable or not, but we will show you later on.
So the next project that we decided to do, because we can use everything that we have developed for Jamendo Licensing and duplicate it and use it also for Hotmix. So we decided to go with our radio SaaS. Here is Hotmix. We have 70 radios. We can see here all the radios, all the filter that we can select to find the best radio that I want to listen to. We also have a subscription when I can manage my plan, change my credit card. Here you can also see that is native of Odoo. I can also upgrade to a new business plan and pay the difference, prorated. And what is really nice is that we have developed everything in the web, but we also developed a mobile app using that same technology for iOS and Android.
So yes, if you want to download the app to listen to some nice music, feel free to do it. It works really well. And with the same idea, so there is a custom module on the backend. Maybe show the module on the backend.
And so on the backend, we have a similar example with Hotmix, where we can handle all the streaming radios, but also the category, the picture. We can create some banner.
If Sasha wants to change a picture, it will dynamically appear on the website, so that's quite cool.
Exactly. And we can also manage our customer and all the subscription, and it's really easy for our moderators to do it.
And so the last project we also did for Winamp is Winamp for Creators, so the application that you guys are creating on your side. But this time it's not really headless. They still have a database on the website. But here in Odoo, we still created a new custom module, and with new API routes, we were able to push all the data and the tracks into Odoo. So I will let Sasha show us how it works.
Yes, so we have developed a product which is like an RP, like I said, with all the services, but it was a bit too complicated to do inside of Odoo. But we are using Odoo for our moderation because, as you will see in the results, we only have to show one project and one product to the team, and they can get all the knowledge they need. For example, moderating a track, we can go here, moderate, and listen to the track directly, see the picture, change the status of the moderation, and then thanks to an API, it will change already the status in our SaaS, which is really nice. We can also change the conflict. Here I will show you some conflict. We are using Odoo as native with the Kanban and the list view, and we can configure everything. So for our moderator, it's really easy because they can go on Winamp, Jamendo, and Hotmix, and they know the product and Odoo to use everything in there.
So here's a summary of the complete ecosystem architecture. So as you see on the screen, you have the two headless e-commerce, so the web application connected to Odoo. We have also the mobile application for Hotmix that is also in the headless mode, so no database, it's Odoo the database, and the external Winamp for Creator database connected through APIs, and everything is inside a AWS cluster, and we manage the infrastructure for Winamp and the group. So now, what about the Odoo migration? So projects like this are quite time-consuming. We have a lot of development. It's long projects. We have many companies that we have integrated in Odoo, and you know that in most traditional Odoo projects, the version upgrade can be quite expensive and quite time-consuming. But we had one goal in mind, was to be able to migrate every year. That's what you guys asked us. You need to be compliant with the accounting. So what we did here is that thanks to the modular and decentralized architecture, with the headless architecture, all the business logic is isolated in custom modules. And so we are not very dependent from the standard Odoo code. And so once we migrate, it becomes quite easily because our code and the Odoo code can migrate simultaneously. And so for this project, it was more than 2,000 hours of work on Odoo V17, and we were able to migrate to Odoo V18 in a day of work. So it was quite an achievement, and now we will be able to migrate every year to have all the new features of the backend. So this shows that the architecture isn't just scalable, it's also future-proof.
And what about the results? Thanks to that migration and the change on how we develop inside of the group, for Jamendo Licensing, since we are using Odoo and the checkout, we have seen a huge growth on the conversion rate and the sales also. We have 20% more also on Hotmix. And for us, regarding the knowledge and the performance of the team, it's really fast to onboard someone because they only have to learn one tool. But also the moderation, like I showed you, is really quick, and we don't have to develop a whole back office with a lot of rules. So it's really simple for us. And like I show you with the CMS version, we can also do some change inside of the product and make it a bit more nice every year, and it's not too time-consuming for us.
So what can we take away from this? Well, first, Odoo can serve not just only as an ERP, but the central business engine for any e-commerce or SaaS platform, as we show for Winamp. So there are 5 companies. Everything can be handled in one database in Odoo. And the accounting is still up and running. And you guys are also a public traded company, so it works well with Odoo. It shows also that a clean headless architecture avoids the ERP or code lock-in, while preserving the full maintainability and scalability compliance of the solution. And last but not least, thanks to the modular and API-driven design, we can perform very fast migrations and scale the product whenever we want.
Exactly. And what about the future? So our next step inside of Winamp Group is to do the same for the copyright SaaS that we have with Bridger and redo all the front end and the back end like we have shown you. and also work on Winamp for Creator, because we have developed, yes, a solution for billing and subscription, but we can see that we are limiting, and also it's a lot of cost for us, thanks to Stripe. So we will move everything to Odoo and centralize everything for the accounting there. So we are really excited to do it, and we will start, I think, in November.
Well, more project for us. Thank you, Sasha.
Thank you, everyone. Does anyone have any question?
Hi, thank you to both of you very much for the presentation. We have some questions here, so I'm gonna read them out loud for you guys. How long does it take this whole solution to implement from the beginning of the project to the state where it is now?
So you want me to, since we did the implementation, so we started first with Jamendo. It took us 4 months from the 5 months from the proof of concept to go live in production for the V1. And then at the same time, we also built the Hotmix application and the mobile application. So it was almost in parallel. And we were able to push to production in October of last year, the 3 solutions. And from that time, we improved every month the new requirements that Sasha gave us. Also implement the Winamp backend with the Winamp for Creators. So it was done in approximately 2 months, this one, I think. But it's a project running from the past years. But in total, the implementation was 5 months long.
Yeah, and we foresee, for example, for Bridger, a 4-month implementation from start to finish.
Okay, thank you very much. I had a question as well. Myself, you said that you wanted to do upgrade every year to stay compliant with the accounting. I didn't really understand this part. Like, why is it needed, accounting-wise?
So for us, our accounting team is quite small.
Okay.
And we know that Odoo is working really hard on every version to improve the accounting. Like, for example, the Verify that we got last year, it was really important for us to cross-check everything inside of the accounts. So we are deciding to do a migration every year to really stay on top of the accounting solution. And since it's not really time-consuming for us, we are able to do it on a yearly basis.
And since it's a public traded company, they get audited every year. So they need to have a state-of-the-art accounting solution. Also, the fiduciary that is working with them wants to have always the last version to work with.
Right. So it's not for legal reason, but more like because you want to always have like the top of the art. Okay, makes sense. One last question: why didn't you use Odoo for your own custom ERP?
So the ERP is managing a lot of medias, which were quite complicated to integrate inside of the database of Odoo. And we have also a lot of connection between other providers. But this project started, I would say, 3 years ago. And now we are seeing maybe with Bridger how we will implement directly on Odoo and maybe moving towards that solution in the coming years. Okay. But we are working project per project and we'll see how it goes. But we also want to keep, because we have Sigma as a partner for Odoo, but we also have a development team inside of the group, which is more focused on the player and on creator. Okay. So the other company are done by Sigma.
Okay, we split it. Okay. All right. Any more questions in the room? All right.
Yay.
Then
thank you
very
much.
Thank you, everyone.